I'm going to show you my 1971 Mercury Cyclone GT and the work that was previously done on it by someone who shouldn't have been anywhere near any tools. I'll just start at the back because that's where it's the worst. At some point, and I imagine it was probably because of rust, all these here, that there, this, and back here, anything that's not red was replaced at one point by someone that couldn't weld, couldn't really cut, didn't know what they're doing. Some rust in it, and they replaced it with something that's rusty. You can see over here fiberglass inside of the quarter panel. I cut this off yesterday over here because I have a new one here. Well, and a replacement. But just look what I cut off. This was their welding. That was their patch there. So I cut off all of that. Luckily on this side I was able to find a replacement piece, but that's off of a Montego, so it's slightly different in the back there, but I can get that figured out. But they also must have taken off this rear panel, the taillight panel here, and just look at this job that they did. Like, this is some of the most ridiculous work I've ever seen. They used, this is like liquid nails, subfloor adhesive is what it looks like. We used to call it Pookie. And they put, of course, this panel's all rusty anyway. Look at that, holes in it. There's a sheet metal screw holding it together. On this side, more of the same, more of this Pookie. Just look at the welding job that they did on this thing. Just hack job deluxe. This is all rusty. Luckily they remanufacture these pieces around the trunk lip. That tail panel though I'm going to have to find, which is alright. I mean, I got this car for dirt cheap. So the deck lid, you can see this was all Bondo. Luckily I found a nice deck lid at that yard that I've taken some footage of and only paid $200 for it. This was me grinding this down. I left it sit outside, but luckily this is actually in pretty good shape. They just filled all these holes with a bunch of Bondo. This is the vinyl top holes here, and then these are the, I don't know what these are, but these are the GT trim pieces. This piece is probably going to need to be replaced also, or at least that lower section. But like I said, I have a donor for that. It's the lower quarter panels that are hard to find. These doors are actually pretty solid, but let me show you what they did in here on the floors. Sorry, I got all kinds of junk. They just poured all the fiberglass resin in there and stuck a couple pieces on top. It smells like farm animals in here, like this thing was a chicken coop or something. Got the wrong steering column. I found a mint dash for it and I only paid $400 for it with the gauges. Steal of the lifetime there, because those are in good shape, a few $1,000s. They sprayed all this, but they didn't bother to fix the rot where the battery is. So I'm going to need to replace that piece. Luckily it's the same as a Torino, so it is available. And half this radiator support is bad too, so I'm going to replace the radiator support. This side's actually pretty good. Kind of the same thing on the floors over here. The door stopped opening. I don't know why. The roof isn't too bad. There's some holes, and there's going to be some filler like right here. Now on the hood over there, they tried to do some body work. They didn't put any primer on any of that red paint either. You can see underneath here the work that they did on it. So I'm looking for a hood, which hood for these is really hard to come by too. Got to replace both fenders and most of the grill, which I've been finding some pieces for the grill here and there, but that's impossible to find. Obviously a windshield. I need the front seats, and I need to redo the rear seat. I need the door panels on the inside, the quarter panels on the inside. My buddy's building me a 460 for it, so it's going to be a 464 speed. I already have the 4-speed. I have a lot of this stuff like the power steering hoses, but that's because I have 10,000 power steering hoses on my website, AmericanClassicPowerSteering.com. I have everything, all made in the United States back when things were made good. So check that out. But this thing will be a beast. Of course, it's got a 9-inch. I'll have my buddy Tim build me probably just like a 350 gear. This isn't a drag car. These things weigh 4,200 pounds or something like that. But this is a 1971 GT, which they only made like 2,250 or something like that, and somewhere in that ballpark. So pretty low production. Last year for the Cyclone, well, technically 72 had a Cyclone option, but it probably was only on 1 or 2 cars, and it wasn't performance or nothing like that. But I've always loved these cars. I finally found this one. I think I paid $2,000, which was probably too much, because it really didn't come with a whole lot that is usable at all. So this one I'll be building. Like I said, I just started doing metal work. I've already owned this thing a couple years now, like a year and a half. So start digging into it, strip all this paint off of it, and we'll see what's underneath. So far, it's not pretty, but I'm the guy to repair it, so that's what I'll be doing. The hole in the roof right there. So far, the roof's pretty solid, though. Back glass is actually good. I got some of the trim is actually pretty good on it. I do have the tail lights, the tail panel that goes on there with the egg crate in the center is all in good shape. So I'm probably dumb for trying to build this thing, but I know where a donor is, so I can use that. And I'm good at welding and doing sheet metal, so I'll post updates on it. Let me know what you think.